Welcome back to Lab AP Chem students. It has been a while, and in our kinetics unit we have already gone over the pre-lab for rates of chemical reactions, iodination of acetone. I can say that, I swear. And we've gone through, talked about the chemical reaction and what is changing to allow us to figure out the rate of this reaction. And for this lab video, we're going to focus on filling out the data for the data table. So we're going to be going through these four mixtures. We have talked about the volumes of each solution that we're going to be mixing, and what we need to collect is the time. So I'm going to do 2 trials for each and then get the average time, and our room temperature. We'll get that in just a second too. And then with that data, you guys should be able to fill out the concentration table and the rate values so that you can figure out the rate law for this chemical reaction. All right, let's get to it. Let's go to lab. So first off, the first 4 solutions we're testing, the mixtures, are all going to be at a room temperature of 21.3 degrees Celsius. And not that that's really important right now. We'll see that more in part 2 of the lab. But that is the room temperature at which these mixtures are going to be at. And I have set up a SpectroViz and calibrated it with a blank. And right now we have 0 absorbance because we have just distilled water in there. And of course, we're going to be mixing our solutions together for each mixture. And I've actually got mixture 1's volume set up. But we're going to be taking 10 milliliters of the 4 molar acetone, mixing it with 10 milliliters of 1 molar HCl, and 10 milliliters of the iodine solution, which has this dark kind of reddish brown color, with 20 milliliters of distilled water. We'll be mixing that in this flask. We'll swish it around, get the reaction going, and then I'll be transferring that solution into one of these SpectroViz cuvettes, and then collecting the time data for when the absorbance goes from that dark color to completely transparent. So when it goes to 0 absorbance, that's when I'll stop the stopwatch, and that'll be our time for the reaction to use up the iodine in that chemical reaction. Okay, let's do trial 1. So I've mixed my HCl, water, and acetone together in the flask. All I have to do is add the iodine, and I've got my stopwatch ready. So as soon as I add the iodine, I will hit start for my time and then get it into the absorbance. So let's add this. Let's start it. Go ahead and get some of that up in there. Get a little bit more. And we'll get that down into the absorbance. Basically, we're going to watch and wait for the time it takes for the absorbance to go to 0. So absorbance is pretty much 0. We're at 3 minutes perfectly. You can convert that into seconds, okay? All right, we are in the mixture 2. So for this mixture, I use 20 milliliters of acetone and then 10 milliliters of each of the other solutions. So I have all of my mixture in here, and then I'm going to add the 10 milliliters of iodine into this. Got my stopwatch right next to it. And let me grab, a barrel pipette to get that out of there. So let's add the iodine, start the stopwatch, add it, and start. Cool. In there. And we'll watch the absorbance. I'm going to do this too. I'm going to put the actual solution behind it, because you should see when we get down to 0 absorbance that the solution goes completely clear. 0.274. So our first trial, we get the average of those times in seconds. And we get the time for this first trial here. Kind of see the solution in the background getting lighter and lighter. Stop this right close to 0. There's that solution in the back. I'm going to stop it there. Okay. So we are at 1 minute, 25 seconds. We can convert that all to seconds. Okay. All right, I've got mixture 3 all set up. Everything in this mixture is 10 milliliters except for the HCl. HCl, we added 20 milliliters. So I've got that in here, all mixed together, the water, the acetone, the HCl. All I have to do again is add the iodine, and we run it. So add the iodine here. Start my stopwatch. Stop it there. Okay. We are at 1 minute 17. Call it 1 minute 18, and I'll let you convert that into seconds. Okay? Cool. And we are on to our last mixture, mixture number 4. So in this one, we have 10 milliliters for everything except for the iodine solution. We've actually doubled that to 20 milliliters. And yeah, let's get started. So move this over, got that. Let's go ahead and add the iodine in and start the stopwatch. We're mixing this for that too. Okay. We will take it at 5:33. Let's make it 5 minutes and 34 seconds. Okay. That was a long one. Trial 2, luckily, I get to do, so. All right, class, now that we have this data table filled out, you can average the times to get your average time for the reaction, and then go through and figure out the rate. Now remember, the rate is determined upon the change in concentration of iodine going from its original concentration after it has been diluted by these other solutions to 0. And we're going to take that concentration change over the time, the average time, to get the rates here, okay? And then you'll have to figure out the new molarities that we had for each of the solutions after we diluted them by mixing them together. And from there on, we will come back together and take a look at what you get for a rate law. We'll meet back in class. See you soon. Bye.